Good. Well, first of all, it's good to be here. I want to honor my friend and hero, Vice President Gore. It was a brilliant summation, graceful, etc. I also want to honor Senator Reid, who has been such a huge and steadfast champion on this. You haven't gotten the credit, though I'll put it on the table, that not only is Las Vegas going to be a leader in generating energy, but there's also going to be a $5.7 million smart grid demonstration project so we can use that energy better and smarter here. Congratulations on that. It's a big deal for the whole country. Senator Worth and Senator Cantwell, I thank you also for your leadership and effectiveness on these very, very important issues. Also want to thank John Podesta. He sicked. This is a very tough set of problems. He sicked two of the best minds in the country on it, in Bracken Hendricks and in Benjamin Goldstein. This report, I think, is very challenging and visionary and pushing us to think even bigger and bolder. I thank you for that. I also thank Secretary Chu for making it energy efficiency cool again. We get a chance to quote you on that fruit on the ground thing 4 or 5 times a day. So thank you for saying it's fruit on the ground. And also, I'm looking forward to hearing the comments of Secretary Solis, the champion, which I think people may sometimes forget, of the first ever federal legislation ever to codify the concept of green jobs, the Green Jobs Act. And she not only was able to get that through Congress, she also was able to get the first president ever to sign into law a Green Jobs Act, George W. Bush. So give you credit for that, being able to be a leader in bipartisanship and bringing us forward together. There's genius around this table. There's also genius around this room. And I want to acknowledge that there are so many people here who are listening who could easily come up here and talk and teach us a great deal. And I think that you are here, many of you. You wake up in the morning. This issue is the first thing on your mind. Many of you have taken chances to start companies. You've written books. You've been grassroots champions for the change that we need. And I think that you're seeking not just a healing for our economy or healing for our planet, but also a healing for our politics. And I want to acknowledge that many of us are here because we're seeking something deeper. This is the common ground agenda. It should be the common ground agenda. We should be able to come together as a country on this one. Finally. And the reason for that is that it's the values that underlie this clean energy conversation, which we don't speak to directly enough, are the common ground values of America. Clean air is better than dirty air for the health of our children. That's common ground. That's why we need clean energy. We have been blessed in this country with so many resources. Conserving them, saving them, treating them with wisdom and respect is better than wasting them. That's why energy efficiency is so important. And if we have the opportunity to fight both poverty and pollution by putting people to work in these new industries, we would be wise as a country to do that. That is common ground. That is common ground. And that is why this administration is so committed to energy efficiency. We think that this is the most fiscally conservative thing that we can do with the federal dollars. Why do I say that? I say that because the money that we invest in energy efficiency, these are humble, hard-working dollars. They work double time, triple time, quadruple time. If you take a worker, someone who right now needs work, someone who's sitting on the bench but has skills or has a desire to get skills, and you give that person the opportunity to stand up and become an energy efficiency specialist and walk across the street, you put $1 in that person's hand. That dollar just cut unemployment. But when she walks across the street and begins to blow in that clean, non-toxic insulation, when she begins to replace those windows and those doors, when she begins to do the work of improving and upgrading our homes, that same dollar that cut unemployment is going to cut someone's energy bill. And it gets better. That same dollar is also going to cut pollution, because somewhere there's often a coal-fired power plant that's working overtime because our homes are so leaky and waste so much energy. But if we can cut that energy bill by 30%, we can cut that pollution by 30%. And that cuts not only greenhouse gas emissions, that cuts asthma. So that same dollar that cut unemployment and cut an energy bill and cuts greenhouse gases is also going to cut asthma and help us take asthma inhalers out of little girls' and boys' pockets. That's the kind of double, triple, quadruple benefit that we're talking about. That's common ground. And I think it's important that we recognize that for all of the battleground politics that's going on, this is the one place that should be a safe harbor for us. We should be able to stand together. We're asking questions that progressives like, but we're giving answers that conservatives like. Right? We're asking questions about how we move the needle on poverty and pollution and create more economic opportunity for people, especially in the lower part of our economy. But the answers are answers that conservatives should like, because we're not talking about expanding welfare, we're talking about expanding work. We're not talking about expanding entitlements, we're talking about expanding enterprise and investments. We're not talking about redistributing existing wealth, we're talking about reinventing an existing sector and creating new wealth by unleashing innovation and entrepreneurship. This should be common ground. We should be able to stand together and be one country on this. And that is why this administration has been so committed. That's why we have $5 billion on the table, up from $200 million last year in 2008, $5 billion on the table this year to cut energy bills for low-income people by unleashing a tidal wave of energy efficiency workers in our economy. That's why GSA has literally billions of dollars to retrofit our government buildings. That is why HUD has billions of dollars in our recovery package to cut energy costs for public housing. That is why you see with our Recovery Through Retrofit program, which the Vice President asked us to start, 12, 13 different federal departments and agencies standing together for the first time, coming up with new ways forward. I mean Treasury, I mean Commerce, I mean the Small Business Administration, because we know that this is, as Secretary Chu has said so many times, the fruit on the ground. There is so much work that needs to be done in this country to retrofit America, to cut these energy bills, and there are so many people who need work. This is our opportunity as a country, and it comes along very rarely, to take the people who most need work and connect them to the work that most needs to be done to fight pollution and poverty at the same time and be one country. Let's be one country. Thank you very much.
Very good.